Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present a wonderful cream of asparagus soup. This one is one you're going to be adding to your recipe box the minute you taste it. It's just that good. Well, howdy folks, and welcome to Texas Cooking Today. I'm Chef Trotters, your host, and you've seen what we're about to make. So I'll tell you what, let's get right at it. Well, howdy folks, and welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. Now, on this episode, I'm going to teach you how to make a cream of asparagus soup. This is a delicious dish. And the very first time I ever tasted this wonderful, wonderful recipe was when I was a boy. Now, the best I could find out and research on this is just a very old dish. It dates way back, okay? So I don't think anybody has any claim to fame on this. It's a good recipe. There's a lot of variations on it, and I'm going to teach you my method, my variant, okay? It's a really wonderful tasting recipe. And even if you know somebody, or if you yourself aren't big on asparagus, let's say you just flat don't like asparagus, this particular recipe may change your mind on whether or not you're willing to eat it in certain forms. So I'll tell you what, let's get in the kitchen. Let's get busy cooking up this fantastic tasting recipe. Come on, let's go. All right, guys, look at this fantastic stuff. I've got some asparagus and an onion. Onion for flavor, very important. We got some stock back here, vegetable or chicken stock, whichever you want to use. I've got some heavy cream. I'm going to use 1 clove of garlic, a little bit of paprika, some salt, and olive oil, and we're going to make fantastic soup. Now guys, before we can make our soup, we have to process that onion, get it cooked up, and cut up that asparagus. So let's start by doing all of our cutting, and then we'll get into cooking. Well, we have the star of our dish right here and ready to go. Let's get busy fixing this. We're going to cut this down after we remove the bases. We're going to mince up that garlic and fine dice our onions. So guys, just get at it, and then we're going to get busy cooking. So what I'm going to do is simply go through and snap all of my asparagus. And all you have to do is just bend it and it does its own thing. Isn't that easy? Once we have all of our asparagus snapped, that's when it is time to get it all cut up. So guys, if you would, just chop yours up into little 1-inch pieces and put them in a bowl. There we go. Asparagus is ready to be cooked. Well guys, now it's time for us to get busy slicing up this onion. If you're going to do this, remember, we're looking for a fine dice on it. It doesn't have to be minced, but just small pieces that'll cook down quickly. Boom. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Well guys, for mincing, I like using a little bit shorter blade. Let me show you how I do this. That simple? Always remember this important and simple lesson that prep everything first, get it all in place and ready to go, and that way when you start cooking, you won't be distracted by doing something else. Nothing gets burned, okay? So everything's ready to go. Let's start cooking this up. Okay guys, we have our olive oil down with those onions. Now I'm going to take that over medium heat. We're going to cover it, sweat it. There we go. Check that once every 2 minutes and stir it. Make sure your heat isn't browning. We're not looking to brown those onions, just to turn them kind of translucent and slightly yellowish. Guys, look at this. It's 5 minutes in. See how they're starting to turn? Another 5 minutes and they're going to be there. I lowered the heat a little bit because we were starting to get a slight amount of browning, okay? Just keep cooking. Every 2 minutes, stir it. Guys, it has now been 10 minutes of sweating these. I'm getting a little too much browning, but that's okay. We're done with that process. I just need to go in with my stock at this point. Anytime at this point, you can go ahead and put your spices in there, and that's what I'm going to do. Go ahead and get my garlic. Remember that garlic was never intended to be a prominent flavor, but just a background flavor that adds to the richness of this dish. And the paprika, as I mentioned, about 1/4 of a teaspoon. So right in there. And about 1/2 teaspoon of that salt. Okay, we have our boil. Let me put this in. Now guys, I have just put my asparagus in here. Okay, so all I have to do, once this comes back to a boil, I'm going to cover it. We're going to let it cook for about 8 minutes, and then I can go ahead and start the puree process. Guys, this is about finished cooking. To process this off, I'm going to be using a blender, you see right here. And when I'm finished running that, I'm going to put all of it through a strainer. All right, now that strainer is to get out any like fibrous, stringy material. And of course, asparagus is known for that. So, strainer. Now, let's get on with it. Ooh, yeah, it smells so good. Now guys, when it comes to handling this, I'm not going to tell you to pour it anywhere. We're going to ladle this out. One ladle at a time. I'm just going to put this right into my blender. All right, that was only about 1.5 minutes. I have a nice liquid. All I need to do is take this, pour it right through my strainer. Now, let's get that here. Now I can take the rest of my soup and process that the same way I did the first. Now guys, when you're trying to get a liquid to go through a strainer, sometimes you just got to work it through, and that's where a spatula comes in handy with one of these. As you can see there, we've gone ahead and processed everything through that strainer and produced a beautiful, beautiful puree. Now I need to get the cream on it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, any good chef needs to stop and check what they have made. So give your soup a little taste. The flavors are divine, totally divine. I'm going to put just a tiny bit more salt, maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon. And guys, I have to admit, I'm one of those that likes the flavor of my chilies. So I am going to go ahead and add a little of that paprika at this point. And what that does for me is it just gives me a little bit of a flavor bump in a unique way, because that was paprika not cooked into the broth, and it's going to flavor it just slightly different. Guys, I've just turned off the heat to this. You could hear it just starting to bubble a little on the bottom, and I said, okay, we're there. That's the temperature it's perfect at. Now look at that. Look at the creamy, smooth quality of that soup. No specks, no particles, no problems. That is top quality right there, guys. Okay, guys, so you know your ingredients list. Get ready to write this down. I'm going to say it one time. We started with 1 pound of asparagus, 1 quart stock, whatever kind of stock you want to use, that's what kind. 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream, 1/4 teaspoon paprika, some olive oil, 1/4 of a teaspoon to 1/2 a teaspoon of salt, 1 clove finely minced garlic, 1 small onion, and a whole lot of love. There you have it. Man, that's a fantastic recipe. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to simply ladle some of this up and get it into my dish. Oh, this is going to be good. If I'm going to garnish, I want to use a little paprika. See how that does? Isn't that beautiful? No more. Very simple, guys. Very, very simple. Oh, time to try it. This is my favorite part of every single show. getting to enjoy what I make. Oh yeah. Oh, once you've had this, you're not going to be able to say no to it. Even people that hate asparagus, when they taste this soup, they don't believe it has asparagus in it. It's that good. Okay, it's just unbelievable. Please give it a try and enjoy. Thank you so very much, guys, for watching Texas Cooking Today, for watching this episode. To my subscribers, folks, thank you very much. I do appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed, hey, look, lots of recipes. They come out every Thursday. I want to keep this up. There's a lot of stuff already out there, and I've got a whole lot, literally thousands of recipes coming your way. So keep tuned in, pay attention. I've got great stuff. Folks, if you would, please leave me a comment, click the like button, and one last thing, just have a good day. Bye-bye. Well, there it is, folks. Thank you very much for watching this Texas Cooking Today recipe. I do appreciate your viewership. If you would, please check out my channel. I have a lot of good recipes on there, and there's a lot more coming. Thank you very much for watching Texas Cooking Today.